I'm reaching over for my mic. Oh, great, great, great. Ah, very good at all. Not very good at all. Oh, great. Okay. Yeah. My life. It's pretty shitty. It really is. Oh, shit. Okay, hi. So, Lindy London, analog synth player at a time, Andrew Cruz, Antonio Ponce. I got your email just before going live, and I want to thank you very, very much for your support and kind words. Very needed, so very appreciated. Thank you. Mike Luff, Donna Davidson, Angelos, hello, Silent Walk, Space Indian, Taylor Noose, Mary Mack, Seek and Ye Shall Find, Yender, hello, John Stuart Mill, Jay Northrup, Oracle 11, Wonder Why, Page, Seabook, and The Hypocrite's Matrix, Awakened Sleeper, hello, and Marty, thank you very, very much. Very much appreciate you showing up. And Darren James Spencer, unfriended today by a fake, does not believe I am held against my will at nursing institution. Just gaslit me the whole time. You're being held against your will at a nursing home? Okay. I think we need to hear more to understand what's going on. AJ and Kenosis and Marcel, hello. Catherine Owens, hello. And Sea Angel Girl 13, hi. Okay, so we're just going to jump right into it because there's a lot to go over, for sure. Things are breaking down. Everything is breaking down. Everything is colliding or collapsing, crashing. But look at this sky. Pink sky, smoky sunsets and sunrises from our solar radiation management. Day after day. It must come to an end. This is making people sick. Yes, it is. Look at that beauty. Wow. Well, I sure have seen an awful lot of skies looking just like that. And yeah. Who else remembers laying in a grassy field as a kid, looking up at the sky and clouds and identifying cloud shapes that resemble real-world things?
I used to prefer it when my passenger planes didn't cross flights like that and crashed. Fuck's sake, seriously? I used to prefer it when my passenger planes didn't cross flights like that and crashed. Fuck's sake, seriously?
How beautiful is that? So, Darren, good that you don't forget others' pain because of your own. Yeah. And you say therapy denied after 14 hours? It's protocol? I'm still having difficulty understanding. Okay. So yeah, that's one hell of a sky. I'm going to drop the link into this tweet here. It's a about 25-minute documentary. How many minutes? 23 minutes, 26. Yeah, geoengineering, share the hell out of this extremely well-produced documentary. I'll just play the first few minutes.
For years, they have told us that weather control and chemtrails were nothing but a big conspiracy.
No, chemtrails are not real.
The idea of chemtrails is absolutely false.
All of our sources say no, chemtrails are not real.
But now the establishment is actually admitting to the fact that chemtrails and weather control are indeed real. And not only are they admitting it, they're actually trying to sell it to us as a way to, quote, stop global warming.
You could actually spray sulfuric acid in the stratosphere 20 kilometers over our head and use that to stop the planet warming up in a ugly tech fix.
You can spray something into the atmosphere to change.
Spray pollution into the atmosphere to stop it warming.
The novel method we've been thinking about, or it's not novel at all, it's actually exactly what happens from aircraft contrails, is that we put a condensable, a few megatons a year of sulfur directly out of the back of an aircraft.
And each year you have to put a little more, and this doesn't, in the long run, mean that you can forget about cutting emissions. We will need to rein in emissions.
No, we'll get to it eventually. But in the meantime, we're shrouding the Earth in sulfuric acid.
If you go to aircraft engineers, and we've done this, they say, that would be easy, we could do this if you want us to.
We put 50 million tons of sulfuric acid in the air now as pollution, and it kills 1 million people a year worldwide.
Okay, but it'll be better if we put more in.
We're talking about 1% of that.
1% more, we're just killing 10,000 more people.
You can do math.
They'll only...
I'll put the link in again. You can watch the full video and circulate it. There you go. So, by the way, severe weather is coming to the Midwest and the Northeast. Blizzards upon blizzards. And look at this. Wow. What are we looking at? Farmers in Germany who are not going along with the green energy plan. They're saying, no, this is a protest. This is wild. How many are showing up to say no? How do we inspire Americans? That's the great question. Here's another in Straubing, Germany. I don't know if that song is copyrightable, so look at this. A lot of people. A lot of farmers. Boy, if we could only unite, what fabulous things we could maybe manifest. Yeah, I saw that Gypsy Star Girl, that New Hampshire is putting forth legislation to stop the spraying of chemicals polluting our environment. Good luck. Good luck. Don't spray over that tiny little sliver of a state. Good luck. And I think it needed to happen about 2 decades ago at least, because the damage may be irreversible. That's the problem. And Houston, Texas, shopping mall inundated by a massive murder of crows. And this was just posted today. And I can't stand that you see all of these videos on Twitter, but you don't know from when it actually occurred. But I don't think it occurred recently, but if anybody knows differently, let me know.
This is from Houston, Texas, yesterday. Dozens and dozens of people experienced this. There's a lot of videos of this. This is crazy. What? After this clip, I'll give you my opinion on this situation. this might just be my opinion, but when animals start doing weird stuff, changing migration patterns, or just all gathering at the same Walmart, something's up. Something's happening. And in this case, these crows know it. Shabba-doo-booskies.
All right. If this was recent, there's an awful lot of frequencies in play to create severe weather. And Texas had those going on. Did you hear about the trains, the subways colliding in Manhattan? Okay. I'm a New Yorker. What the hell? Never have I heard of subways colliding. Can you see how nothing seems to be working right anymore? Numerous emergency personnel and other agencies are currently on the scene after 2 subway trains collided, causing a portion of one train to derail at 96th and Broadway. On the Upper West Side, I lived on 80th and the Upper West Side. This is like, what? Are you flipping kidding me? I guess not. Oh boy. Alright, before I go on, I just want to say to Duke and us, I am so sorry to hear of your husband passing on January 1st. Liver disease. I am so sorry. I hope that you're doing okay. Okay. A lot of people are passing. Okay. Very sorry to hear that. Okay, so, yeah, these subways, just a few minutes of this. Multiple people injured after minor train derailment on Upper West Side. And those who were in the train, they don't describe it as a minor train derailment, but I'm not even sure I'm going to get to that portion of this clip.
Upper West Side of Manhattan that's having a real impact on the commute home tonight on the subway. A short time ago, a northbound 1 train struck a work train as it was departing the 96th Street station. It's being described as a slow-speed minor derailment. This is video that we are just getting into our newsroom of on board one of those train cars.
Let's check in again with Eyewitness News reporter Jim Dolan with more on the story. Jim.
Dave, let me just tell you that nobody who was on board that train will describe this as a minor derailment. They were terrified. Many of the people we spoke with who were coming off of that train were still shaking from what happened. Again, that northbound 1 train had just left the 96th Street station. It clipped another train. There was a loud bang. There were sparks that flew and then smoke. Let's go to some video that was shot from that train. You can see the fire department arriving there, talking to the passengers, making sure everyone's okay. There were about 14 minor injuries on that train, but no serious injuries. And they were coming up with a game plan to get people off of the train. It was close enough to the station still so that most people could walk directly on to the platform from the train. But when we spoke with people upstairs after they got off, they would not describe it as a minor derailment.
It was very nerve-wracking. I was so nervous. I tried to use my phone to call someone. I had no service on there. And I tried to remain calm as best I can, but now I just...
You seem very frazzled at the moment.
I feel very lightheaded. I'm just in shock right now. I'm in a lot of shock.
You can hear the sirens in the background of those interviews.
Stephen, Natasha, as you know, this is a busy subway station here on 42nd Street, and this is the time that people are trying to get home. And from up here, things seem normal, like nothing is going on. But the problem is when you get downstairs to the platform, especially when you're trying to get the 1, 2, or 3 train. Take a look. This is video. It is packed down there with commuters trying to figure out what is going on. Some just didn't even know what was happening until they got down there and saw the mob of people. We also saw MTA workers there advising folks to take other lines like the Q or the ACE or even the NQRW line. A lot of folks here that I spoke to tell me that they had no idea that there was even a derailment. They were just coming about their day, trying to get home. I spoke to one young lady who had left college. It's a 2-hour commute for her, and now she says it's going to take her much longer to get home tonight. Take a listen.
No, I heard somebody say that a train got derailed, so the 1, 2, and 3 are not running. You have to take the A uptown.
Is this an inconvenience for you?
Yeah, I was gonna take it right now. I was just at college in Kingsborough, so it took me 2 hours to get here just to take another train.
Oh my God, if you know the 1, 2, 3 line, especially at commuting hours, it is jam-packed with people. That these people have to figure out another way, oh, that hurts. But do you notice how many things are just not quite working as they're supposed to? It's only going to get worse, guys. It really is. When asked about today's subway derailment, the New York City comptroller replied, "It's a good thing I don't take the subway. I am provided with a chauffeured car to get around." They don't care. Look at that smile. They don't care. Absolutely. They could give... They actually enjoy it. So listen to this. Now, if you remember, last night I showed a clip of a whopping lot of police in Miami, all with their lights going on, but we didn't know what was going on. Well, listen to this. Life. It's very bizarre these days.
I honestly cannot believe the words that are about to come out of my mouth. Oh, silly me, before we get started. Guys, Tiki Talk, this is purely for entertainment purposes only. We're just goofing around. All things stated here are purely speculation. Just having fun. You are going to want to see this, because there is a very good chance, at least for the next few days, you will not see this anywhere else but right here. And if I'm being completely honest, I'm not sure what part of this story bugs me most. The fact that we actually now live in a world where something like this could happen. The fact that we actually live in a world where something like this could happen, but at this point, none of us will even be shocked. Or the fact that something like this could happen in our world, and not a single news media has broke this story, not at all. In fact, if you Google search it, it is quite a difficult find, which is all that much more suspicious with a story of this kind of size, this magnitude. And yet, here we are. Hang on to your britches. It's gonna get real. A couple of days in Miami, Florida, at a mall, the local police were dispatched to the mall for an argument, a fight that broke out between juveniles. Juveniles, they say, had sticks and fireworks. Oh my. But ultimately, the call, what they claim was the call, the reason for the police officers to arrive at the scene, was due to a fight that had broken out between juveniles who had sticks and fireworks. But Auntie, why do you care if that's on the news? That isn't a big deal. No, my friend, no, it's not. It is definitely not that big of a deal. I agree with you, and it is definitely, hands down, not a big enough deal for the local Miami Police Department to show up on the scene just like this. Right? That seems like a lot of officers to show up, but my friends, that is not anywhere near all that came. And once you understand and you hear the eyewitnesses' stories, I believe you will at that point understand a little bit better as to why so many police officers, probably 100, along with choppers, black choppers from the PD, patrolling the scene from above. And according to witnesses, eyewitnesses there, the Miami police was not dispatched there for a juvenile fight. And the obvious need for such an enormous police presence was far more sinister than what we've been told. As multiple witnesses claimed to have seen, I can't believe I'm going to say this, creatures that stood 8 to 10 feet tall, walking outside and even inside of the mall. And the pew-pews that were reported And even the pew-pews you might hear in some of the videos had nothing to do with the juvenile fight. According to these witnesses, it was actually the mall-goers shooting to protect themselves from these 8 to 10 foot tall creatures in self-defense.
Yeah, that's why I came right here.
But wait, it gets better. Along with the ridiculously high number of police officers that arrived on the scene and the helicopter flying above, apparently after this incident was phoned into the police, the Black PD helicopters were the only things flying that night in the Miami sky. As the Miami airport was shut down, still no flights going or coming at Miami International, only one PD helicopter patrolling the area. The absolute lack of this story anywhere is absolutely driving me mad. On my Google search, I found nothing. I found crickets. Ironic. Even my ex, not my ex, even X let me down. Well, my ex let me down too, but that's a whole nother story. As when I searched on X, this is what I found. No results for people shooting at Miami Mall, 8 to 9 feet tall creatures. Okay, valid. Let's remove the obvious. Do another search without the 8 to 9 foot tall creatures. Well, now that's suspicious. Still no results for Miami Mall shooting January 2024. Now that's very suspicious. Because judging by the size of the police presence, the helicopter, but wait, there's more. You would think even X would have one post about it, but nothing. Thank goodness for social media, though, because where would we be in situations like this when the media chooses not to report if we didn't have incredible people going to social media to post details about it themselves? Can someone confirm they've cut the police scanner? Check flight tracker, doesn't look like any flights leaving or coming into MIA. You can see the helicopter doing loops. Yes, they cut the scanners. Multiple people claim they saw 8 to 10 foot tall aliens or very tall zombies, and it caused shoppers panic. There are now black helicopters flying and everything is blocked off. Power has also been cut in a few blocks and at the mall. So you're going to tell me that the police literally cut the public's access to the police scanners, all because some juveniles are fighting with sticks? Okay. And they're going to cut the power, not only to surrounding areas, but also the power to the mall itself. So much so that 61,290 homes are without power at that time. On Reddit, we found anyone following what happened in Miami last night, apparently mass sighting of 7 to 10 foot tall creatures. Flights halted, police radio cut off, and helicopters patrolling. So are you really telling me that they're praying that we are all going to just believe this? Miami police, a large fight broke out involving several juveniles, some of whom may have been armed with some kind of sticks. Police are still continuing their investigation at this time. Okay. You know who else is doing their investigation at this time? Me and the rest of the world. You cannot be serious when you tell me you're going to cut the power to the mall and multiple homes in Miami, shut down a whole airport, no planes in and no planes out, have hundreds of police officers storming the mall, rushing to the scene, and Black PD helicopters scouring and patrolling the area from above. All simply because of a juvenile fight where some of the juveniles were armed with some kind of sticks. No, sir, I kindly reject this. I do not believe this at all. So, guys, I'm curious, what are your thoughts? Because...
Oh, boy. Alien creatures, 8 feet, 9 feet tall. That's what all of this was about. Okay. Yeah. Isn't life very interesting? Oh... I'm seeing the pink. Oh, here comes the lithium. Unbelievable what we are living. How about this? Another school shooting. 1 killed, 5 others injured by Iowa school shooter on the first day after winter break. Another school shooting. And don't ever forget that this is on the rise. It's on the rise. We have a new variant, JN.1. It becomes a dominant variant and scattered all over the country. Health officials are mandating masks. Oh, and yeah. How about those school shootings? Libs of TikTok posted this. Hi, FBI. This person is saying they're going to shoot up a school. He goes by the name KB Bread D on TikTok. Please track him down. So, in response to the Iowa shooting, he wrote, "Hope you ended at least a few. Gonna do the same." Okay. Now, we don't have a healthy society. Not adults, not kids. That's why you need to do the work necessary to get yourself healthy, to get yourself aware. Aware for sure of your own self, but your surroundings, because there's an awful lot going on. But listen to this, our finances, they're still saying that we have under 4% unemployment. Oh my God. Well, maybe that's true, considering how many people have been laid off, well, in 2023. So we have so few jobs out there also. So when you think about the labor force, it's very small now. So maybe that's true. When you have 20 people working in the country.
You are not struggling financially right now, then you need to consider yourself completely blessed. Like, don't even consider yourself. You are completely blessed. Like, every time I check my local mom group on Facebook, I see requests or people asking where they can get some financial assistance to pay utilities or assistance with rent. And it's concerning because these people are working full-time jobs and they just can't make things work right now. For example, this morning, a woman posted she's an RN working 2 jobs and still is struggling. I know we're all complaining about how expensive things are. For me, personally, like my car insurance doubled in August. I was paying around $140 a month, and now I'm paying $280 for 2 vehicles, and I'm 1 driver. And I have never had a claim. There was no reason for the increase other than they just increased me. On top of that, Florida Power and Light rules the entire state of Florida now. They bought out Gulf Power, and since then, all I ever hear about from people is how astronomical their utility bills are. Everyone is trying to find ways to save money. But as soon as we save money in one area, something else goes up. So it's just kind of like we're sliding this scale back and forth, and it's actually like increasing. We're never saving, no matter how hard we try. Like, I stopped eating out with my kids. Obviously, eating out is super expensive, but I went almost a month no eating out, and it was still a struggle. And if you made it this far, I don't mean this to be like a pity party thing. I'm figuring it out. But last Friday, my birthday, my boss cut my hours in half. So yeah, I guess this is also like a PSA to people who aren't struggling right now. Don't be tone deaf.
A good PSA. Help one another in your communities. And check this out.
Investigates leads the way in reporting on these Social Security overpayments. Channel 2 consumer investigator Justin Gray first reported 3 years ago about being told they owe thousands of dollars of Social Security money. Because of our reporting, a House subcommittee started looking into the problem, and the agency announced a review of its policies. Justin collaborated with investigative teams from 7 of our sister stations and KFF Health News to shed light on this nationwide issue.
Well, that was strange.
And we are digging.
That just literally, it's a 4-minute video. What the hell?
Security can start taking the money out of your monthly check, sometimes pausing those payments entirely and even garnishing wages. That's left some families we've talked to homeless.
This is where I sleep.
Denise Woods drives to and from Georgia's strip malls, truck stops, and parking lots, looking for a safe place to sleep each night.
It's scary. You just don't know what each day is going to bring.
Everything she owns is jammed into the back seat.
All my belongings.
According to this letter sent by the Social Security Administration, the agency is demanding back nearly $58,000 after determining it was overpaying her. Because of her disability, lupus, and congestive heart failure, she can only work part-time and makes just $14 per hour. So the agency is withholding her entire monthly check, about $2,000 per month, until February 2026.
So we overpaid you. We need our money back.
We met Nicole Eberhardt at an extended stay hotel recently.
I have 2 babies I have to think about.
It's where she's living now because losing her $1,700 monthly check from the SSA after the agency sent her an overpayment notice means the legally blind mother and grandmother also lost the roof over her head.
I was using that money to actually pay for the apartment that we were living in.
A Channel 2 Action News investigation in September first exposed billions of dollars in Social Security overpayments. Since then, as part of our months-long investigation in partnership with KFF Health News, we've heard from more than 400 families who've gotten demand letters from the Social Security Administration asking them to pay back thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. Following our reporting, the head of the agency announced a full review of overpayment policies and procedures.
I want to get Social Security just to fix it.
Senator Sherrod Brown, chair of the Social Security subcommittee, suggests the agency could be misinterpreting a law about recovering all overpayments. Notices initially ask beneficiaries to repay the money directly, but the agency more often recoups the money by reducing or halting monthly benefits. It can also garnish wages and federal tax refunds. That leaves people like Denise Woods stuck with a bill they can't afford.
This shouldn't be life for anybody. Shouldn't be life for anybody.
And Channel 2.
How many government agencies are making mistakes, overpaying people, and then demanding the money back? I've shown other agencies doing this. Social Security, now doing it. Literally making people homeless. We need to care. We need to care. We need to do the work necessary so that we can actually have a generative care. '50 is the age when many Californians experience homelessness for the first time. Why there's a rise in homelessness among older Americans and how it could happen to you. God, unbelievable. Ageism. The reason, maybe it's in this, no, but they were talking about, everything, the rents skyrocketing, inflation, and wages pretty much stagnant. Why are so many Californians dying? 82,000 more Californians die from everything else that is typical since that date. Household financial distress grew in 2023, driven by increases in credit card debt. We're in piss poor shape. It is essential to remember that the economic indicators often do not tell the whole story. For instance, while unemployment remains under 4%, labor force participation remains lower than the rate captured before the pandemic led millions to lose their jobs. Additionally, While real wages have increased since 2019, they are only up 1.3%. In other words, there is a smaller workforce relative to the population size than was seen before the pandemic, and wages have not risen much over the last 4 years. Yes. It's not good. I'll put the link in again to dailyjobcuts.com. Check it out. Check it out on a daily basis, just to see how many people are losing their jobs. And a whole lot are losing their jobs. Let's see. Xerox cuts 15% of their workforce, which is approximately 3,000 plus. Blue Cross, 165. Messenger, 24. And we had the holidays. 285 in Pearl River from Pfizer. Oh boy. Well, yeah. Look, when you start experiencing a whole lot of Americans freaking out, you'll know why. Average U.S. household can afford only the cheapest 16% of listed homes. We are going down. More than 140 drug brands will have their prices hiked. Oh wait, didn't Biden do something in that Reduction Act? Oh, it's something about lowering prescription drug prices. Having liars in your life can be very dangerous. Not holding them accountable. For sure. You're going to get hurt. And here, hackers target water utilities? As World Economic Forum prepares for a global catastrophic cyber event.
U.S. water utilities targeted by foreign hackers, prompting calls for cybersecurity overhaul. And the states and Congress are now scrambling to secure their water systems against cyber attacks. This comes just less than a month after Chinese hackers allegedly attack U.S. water systems, ports, and a power grid. The Chinese hacker group Volt Typhoon have allegedly targeted American infrastructures such as power communications and water utilities. Now, this is significantly different from the recent hacks that we've seen involving stolen data, like when a ransomware group claimed to have breached all of Sony's networks and is selling all of that data, or when hackers stole ancestry data of around 6.9 million users from 23andMe, which has finally been confirmed. But no, these recent attacks seem to be targeting the drinking water of entire populations, which could lead to a major catastrophic cyber event as described by the World Economic Forum. This is the World Economic Forum's global cybersecurity outlook for 2023, which was released exactly 1 year ago, where in it says that 93% of cyber leaders and 86% of business leaders believe that global geopolitical instability is moderately or very likely to lead to a catastrophic cyber event in the next 2 years.
Okay, the link to the full video is in the chat. Oh boy. Things are not going to be fun. Yes. If you don't hold liars accountable, they'll definitely do it over and over and over again. Chick-fil-A has raised its prices more than 20% as inflation rages. Chick-fil-A, that Christian company, making a whole lot of money. I don't know, maybe they help people. Do they? Maybe they actually take a proportion of their profits and help the elderly who are going homeless. Let me know if any of you know what Chick-fil-A does to help people. All right. Oh man. This. Here. So, Biden's electric school bus program faces a big hurdle. Inadequate utility power. Oh, I guess that program's just not working out. Let's listen to how, oh my God, how excited our vice president was when she announced this program.
Now, something to cheer us up. Well, perhaps amuse us rather than cheer us up. Listen to the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, she of the awkward laugh and bumbling diplomacy. Have a look at her at an event to promote electrifying school buses.
So here's the thing. Who doesn't love a yellow school bus, right? Can you raise your hand if you love a yellow school bus, right? There's something about and most of us, many of us went to school on the yellow school bus, right? And it's part of our experience growing up. It's part of a nostalgia and a memory of the excitement and joy of going to school, to be with your favorite teacher, to be with your best friends, and to learn. The school bus takes us there.
Yep, the school bus takes you to school. The yellow school bus.
That was part of a too long speech about this electric school bus program. Nothing works. Americans, can't you see that all of these policies coming out of Washington, D.C. don't work? Do you know that costs you an awful lot of money? I guess not. Bill Clinton, Stephen Hawking at an orgy, Michael Jackson. Here's who's unsealed Epstein documents so far. Bill Clinton, he said one time that Clinton likes them young, referring to girls. So all this information that has now been put out to the public, it's all from court documents, depositions of the witnesses, depositions of those victims of the child and human trafficking going on at Epstein Island. Here, we have sick criminals. But I guess Americans love them. Michael Jackson, the accuser, said she was not forced to perform a massage on the pop star. Prince Andrew touched her breast while posing for a picture with a puppet of himself. God. Alan Dershowitz vehemently denied all accusations, but allegedly came, quote, pretty often to Epstein's Florida mansion and got massages while he was there. Stephen Hawking participated in an underage orgy. Al Gore, but nothing was said about Al. Bill Richardson, New Mexico governor, former New Mexico governor, was had sex with Virginia Giuffre. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. Yeah. George Lucas, David Copperfield, Naomi Campbell, Kevin Spacey, Donald Trump, but he didn't receive a massage. Yay, Donald. This is our sick, sick world. Jesus. And they're still just going about living life. President Clinton is a key person in those files. And so I'd have to look into the files myself, but this person says that these people's careers are over. Are you kidding? No. Jeffrey Epstein files in full. Oprah Winfrey, Al Gore, Chris Tucker, Prince Andrew, Bobby Kotick, Bill Clinton. I don't even know Bobby or Chris, but you think their career is over. Nobody gives a shit about anything. But listen, a reminder. I'm sure a lot of you have heard this before, but let me play it again.
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story. And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the planes. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton, we had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail, and now it's all coming out, and it's like these new revelations, and I freaking had all of it. I was so pissed right now. Like, every day I get more and more pissed because I'm just like, oh my God, what we had was unreal. Other women backing it up. Hey, yep. Brad Edwards, the attorney, 3 years ago, saying there will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known. I had it all 3 years ago. So do I think he was killed? 100%. Yes, I do. Because he made his whole living blackmailing people. Yeah. There were a lot of men in those planes, a lot of men who visited that island, a lot of powerful men who came into that apartment.
Now this was a hot mic moment, which lasted for a while, but it was, 5 years ago, I think. FBI had confiscated more than 20,000 images from CDs, hard drives, photos stored in drawers and closets, along with hundreds of logs and notes when they searched Epstein's $17 million New York home. It was all sealed. Gotta protect the criminals. You gotta protect the criminals, right? Right. Whew. Man, oh man. And listen to this. You know, the lies, man, are just so sickening.
If you look at the graph of inflation afterwards, it literally goes straight down.
It does. And also there was deficit reduction. The reduction for the national debt in the legislation.
If you look at the graph of inflation
the deficit is the national debt tops a record $34 trillion. The debt just keeps going up and up and up. And the deficit, who the hell knows? But that's this guy, inflation just goes down, 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 down. Look how good Bidenomics is. I just don't understand why. When things get so bad, and it's so obvious that these people are criminals, that we just don't do a thing. Surgeon General in Florida calls for this. You know what? There's a lot of... I'm not even going to put the link in because Vigilant Fox is kind of known for what he posts. Revolutionary nano-drones target and eliminate cancer cells. Alright, so the nano technology, nano language, nano terms are going to be flooding mainstream media now. Americans won't look into it. And they really should. But they won't. And here, these nano drones literally target cancer cells and eliminate them. Here, I'll put the link in. But really, you don't know what you're getting. You don't know what you're getting. And the FBI tainted Whitmer kidnap plot you've heard next to nothing about. The reason why I bring this up is because, here, sea change. Most Hispanics now prefer Trump. Biden's black support plummets from 2020. And let's see if it was in this. There's an article with somebody saying that Biden is not going to be, because of his health and because of his plummeting approval rating, that he is not going to get to the election, and people are, Kamala Harris doesn't pull any political weight. So who are they thinking? One of them? Gretchen Whitmer, who is a sick mother effer tyrant. CNN anchorwoman Abby Phillip told GOP presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy that there was no evidence to support his claim that federal agents abetted protesters at the Capitol on January 6. Ramaswamy shot back that the FBI conspicuously has never denied that law enforcement agents were on duty in the crowd. He argued that federal officials have repeatedly lied to the American people about not only that investigation, but one that has gotten much less attention, the alleged failed plot to kidnap and kill Governor Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan. It was entrapment, Ramaswamy said. FBI agents put them up to the kidnapping plot that we were told was true but wasn't. And I will, if you don't know anything about this, I suggest you click on the link and read some of it. Yeah, don't we know that the FBI certainly does a whole lot of those terrorist attacks, but they blame it on innocent people. That's a tyranny. October 8, 2020, Whitmer announced the shocking arrests of several men accused of planning to kidnap and possibly assassinate her. The case produced alarming headlines. Just weeks before Election Day, Democrats, including Whitmer, used news of the plot to blame Trump for inciting violence. national press has given little attention to the case since the initial arrests, even though court documents have recast the episode as something more sinister instead of a heroic effort by the FBI to safeguard the country from domestic terrorists. It now appears to have been a broad conspiracy by law enforcement to entrap American citizens who held unpopular political views. So, it was revealed that some of those informants, acting under the direction of the FBI, played a far larger role than has previously been reported. Working in secret, they did more, this is a quote, working in secret, they did more than just passively observe and report on the actions of the suspects. Instead, they had a hand in nearly every aspect of the alleged plot, starting with its inception. The extent of their involvement raises questions as to whether there would have even been a conspiracy without them. 6 men, ranging in age from 22 to 44, faced federal charges of conspiring to kidnap and use a weapon of mass destruction. 8 others faced state charges. It was an entrapment operation, and the operation sounds something like a Hollywood script. It features secretive cash payouts, drug and booze-fueled parties, a convicted wife-beating FBI investigator, a career felon revealed as a longtime FBI asset, and later accused of acting as a double agent, and a dramatic takedown scene at the end. In fact, those that they were trying to entrap kept saying, no, we don't want to do this plot. But the FBI kept at it. Do you know how many innocent people are having their lives destroyed? Oh, by their fellow Americans and Canada. So I don't know too much about this video, but this is former Canadian Secret Intelligence Service intel officer testifying about Trudeau and testifying about others who have been compromised by the CCP. Yes.
I want to be very clear, and I want to be very clear. We can prove that every federal government, from Mr. Mulroney to Mr. Trudeau, have been compromised by agents of the Communist China. Every government were informed at one point or another. Every government choose to ignore CISA's warning, either by negligence, self-interest, or partisanship. Every government were infiltrated by agents of influence acting on behalf of the Chinese government, and we knew who they were. Every government took decisions that are questionable about China and can only be explained by interference exercised from within or motivated by self-interest. Not only the sitting government have been compromised, but all federal political parties have been compromised at one point or another. The inaction of the federal government, all federal governments, were led to attacks on many municipal and provincial government. Ultimately, every government had been part of the problem, not the solution. And remember, not only China is practicing interference.
And as more and more evidence comes out, man, what is going on? I guess there ain't going to be any kind of revolution by the people, for the people. I guess we're just going to keep increasing the number of those excessive deaths, or homelessness. And here, okay, tenants return to apartments that were looted after a building fire.
returned home today to gather some of their belongings 2 weeks after a devastating fire at an apartment building in Queens. But if the fire wasn't bad enough, many returned to find their cash, jewelry, and other valuables gone, taken by looters. And that's not the only problem. Eyewitness News reporter Stefan Kim live in Sunnyside with more. Stefan.
Well, David, after a raging fire gutted this 6th-floor building just before Christmas, today residents for the first time got to return home to see what they could salvage. But on top of all the other issues they're facing, they returned home to find their homes were looted, jewelry and cash all stolen.
They were very selective with what they took. They didn't just kind of do this. It was like the most expensive supplement that I had, my mom's jade necklace from Korea, in my pile of cheap jewelry, my one antique wedding ring, and my daughter's piggy bank was completely raided.
Thanks everybody for coming out. Kathy Kim is just one of the roughly 450 tenants who lost her home in Sunnyside, Queens to a raging inferno just before Christmas. She's also among the countless tenants who say their homes were looted. The NYPD called to the scene today to collect evidence.
Yo, bro, I'm doing what I was told, bro.
I want you to stay the out of the way so people can carry their stuff out. That's it.
Meanwhile, tensions boiling over between displaced tenants and the security team hired by the building management. Tenants for the first time allowed back home today, but given only 3 hours to clear out all of their belongings. A spokesperson for A&E Real Estate Management says the 3-hour windows are for safety reasons and that tenants are being provided with movers to assist them. But tenants say they're not really movers.
How many boxes we already put here? They're packers. There is some stuff that we were hoping, could, sort of do the industrial saran wrap and have a bunch of guys just kind of bring down the stairs as is. But I don't think they say they're not going to be able to carry a bunch of our stuff down.
The packers are really just sorters, I would say, because what they're going to do no matter what, whether a resident claims their items or not, they're going to empty out your apartments and throw it in the trash.
As for the fire, FDNY fire marshals determined the renovation contractor using an unauthorized blowtorch to remove lead paint started the blaze. Meanwhile, for Spanish-speaking residents, tenants say they're getting even less help from their landlord.
They are not translating anything to the Spanish tenants in this building.
Tenants say there are dozens of Spanish-speaking neighbors not getting phone calls or emails returned. A spokesperson for building management says A&E has Spanish-speaking staff that has directly engaged resident by email, by phone, and in person on a daily basis since the fire. Tenants say that's not true.
This is discrimination against them, and they feel that the landlord is trying to remove them from their home.
Oh, joy, joy, joy. New York, New York. It's a hell of a town. It is a hell of a town. Trash piling up across New York City.
Another casualty of Mayor Adams' budget cuts, trash cans on city sidewalks. But the city says getting rid of some of the cans is better than having them overflow with trash.
All right, Fox 5's Kendall Green has the dirt on the war on litter.
Jillian moved to New York from Germany about a year ago, and trash troubles in the city are far from what she knows is normal back home.
You have a paper waste, different colors of glass, and then you have compost, and then you have the rest metals, and then there's the rest of the stuff, which doesn't end up being a lot.
And then you have New York.
And then you have New York.
Where keeping trash contained on city streets comes with challenges. Prime example right here. This trash container is overflowing like many others on the same block.
I mean, it's not exactly the best, but it is New York. We're almost semi-used to it.
The problem is, it hasn't been picked up. And with a 3% budget cut on the way to the city's sanitation department, the city will reduce waste bin pickup routes by 40%. And they'll decrease the number of bins across the city, yet the department says they haven't determined just how many. For the corner of 61st.
So they're going to reduce the amount of garbage bins, thinking that is going to solve the problem. It's not. I know New York. Oh boy. 3% or what was it? 3% to 4%? I actually have to really listen because they're so low on my end. Budget cuts. Why? Because of the illegal migrants. God, New Yorkers, man. What are you doing? You're being treated like shit. Nikki Haley says it's inappropriate to call the illegal immigrants criminals.
But let's keep in mind, these people that are wanting to come here, they want to come for a better life too. They have kids too.
How many Americans do you know have a fabulous life today? Okay. No, don't call every illegal migrant a criminal, though they are crossing the border illegally. That puts them into the criminal status. Doesn't matter. If your government is treasonous and saying, come on in, it's still illegal. It's still breaking the law. All right. But when people are calling these illegal migrants criminals, a whole lot are talking about that all of them are committing crimes beyond the crime of crossing the border. A whole lot don't know that what they're doing is actually criminal because our government has said, come on down, or come on up, or come on across, and cross that border. Okay. But there are an awful lot who are committing crimes. And Nikki Haley is she's already established herself as a warmongering, treasonous, I'm about me. I'm all about me. You know, that typical American.
They have a heart too. So we don't need to be disrespectful. We don't need to talk about them as criminals. They're not. They're families that want a better life and they're desperate to get here. But let's keep.
Well, Americans are now desperate. Americans are really struggling. So when you have a candidate for the presidency who talks like that, she doesn't care about all of the Americans who are struggling. She doesn't care about the elderly who are being shoved out of their apartments or their homes because they can't afford a $500 rent increase. Yeah. And the list is long, as you all well know. Sickening to listen to this. Cultural enrichment in France.
M'a craché dessus. Sors. Voilà. Gros, bien fait, bien fait, bien fait. Bien fait, bien fait, bien fait. Elle m'a craché dessus. Sors. Voilà.
And apparently she's pregnant. Poland turns water cannons on thousands of migrants. Poland has said no. So for some reason, these migrants really desperately want to get into Poland. Really? Okay. Well, House GOP. The House GOP. This guy has abused his power to force his woke immigration agenda on the American people. We've known this for years.
Hallie Bradley spoke with one of the lawmakers leading the charge against Mayorkas. She joins us live with more. Hallie, this was a one-on-one that you had to help illustrate the trouble and the problems that they're having along the border.
Yeah, Nick, those problems along the border continue and happening today. The port here in Eagle Pass, after a month of being closed, that's resuming operations. So is the one in Arizona. So is the one in California. You talk about those problems at the border. This all comes after a record-breaking month of migrant encounters. And it's in part those record-breaking numbers why these Republican congressmen are trying to now impeach DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas.
This guy has abused his power to force his woke immigration agenda.
And it's been going on for years. So why don't you ask these GOP representatives in Congress, why have you not done anything about it? You're still talking about impeaching Mayorkas? Still? Wow. You have a majority in the House. What the hell is going on then? Sorry. We listen to the horseshit all the time. They do their staging. Oh, we're all down at the border. And what comes of it? The congressional hearings. I mean, theater for the American people to actually believe that their congressional reps are working for them. Come out of your delusions. So this is almost a 6-hour live stream. Lukeville, Arizona, condensed to 3 minutes. Forget it. I'll put the link in. You can watch it. A whole lot. That's why they closed the Lukeville port of entry in Arizona, because the numbers, well, they needed all the border agents they could possibly get to process all of these people who were just, hey, go on. And it is remarkable that there's such silence from U.S. Border Patrol. This is Michael Yan. The reports, it's a quote, the reports you are seeing about the change in questions of Chinese are 100% correct, but it is not just Chinese. There was a time when the Border Patrol would try to get to the truth of illegal aliens' background. That is no longer the case. The priority is in processing for release as fast as possible. Agents will get questioned as to why they did not get more files done if they do not do as many as management wants them to do in a shift. Example, I have done one file in a shift, and my management all the way to the top in the station was extremely unhappy. They were asking questions as to why I only did one and if I needed additional training. The only focus of Border Patrol management is to process illegal aliens for release as fast as possible. And here in New York, so that whole Adams executive order that if the buses don't give them 32-hour notice that they're going to be dropping off a lot of illegal migrants, that they're going to incur big fines, right? So Abbott ships them up, but now they go to New Jersey, and then they take trains into New York City. Wow. Penn Station.
Hola.
God, this country is just a flippin' joke. And listen to what this one says. Wow. Wow. Wow.
In an interview with CBS News, House Speaker Johnson said on his first day in office, President Biden came in and issued executive orders that began this chaos. Did any of
Come on, I'm sick of this.
the administration's policies contribute to the record number of border crossings?
What I can say is this. On his first day in this administration, the president put forth a comprehensive immigration legislation to deal with a broken system. That's what the president did, to deal with a broken system. We were just a couple of weeks away of 3 years ago that legislation that he put forward to Congress to actually deal with an issue, right? And so that's what I can say. The president understands that there's a problem at the border. He put forth on his first day something to deal with that problem. And what we continue to see from Speaker Johnson and Republicans, House Republicans, I know Jackie asked a question about something that I said yesterday in May, and I'll repeat it. I repeat what I said yesterday. In May, House Republicans decided to vote on a bill that would cut 2,000 Border Patrol agents at the border. That's what they did. That's what they did. And they...
You know what is really just exhausting about liars is that every frickin' thing they say, you have to verify. You've got to go check it out. But when they lie chronically, you don't. Yeah, it's the Republicans' fault. It's the Republicans' fault. You know, the little kiddies like Jean-Pierre, little kiddies who, it's not our fault. It's Tommy's fault. He's the one who ate the cookies. I cannot stand the lack of character in most Americans. It's shocking. Moral character, just decent character, just integrity, dignity. Who cares about any of that? Obviously, not a lot of Americans care.
They continue to obstruct and get in the way of the president wanting to move forward with a supplemental that includes border security.
The Republicans were continually getting in the way, obstructing what the Biden administration wanted to do. Oh, don't you love it? No, I can't stand it. It is thoroughly, it reprehensible. I don't like that word anymore. It doesn't really sum up. Disgusting? Well, okay. But it doesn't really sum up. We need new descriptive words for these people. Woof! And here, it is true, Hispanics and Black Americans turning to Trump, thinking he's going to be the savior. Oh man, there are so many people who just switch sides. I recommend you don't. When you're ready to abandon your team, take a step out, check out both teams. Just look from the outside in, and you will see we don't have two teams. But hey, let's go.
What's going on, everybody? It's Trump Latinos. Need you guys to do us a favor. Share this if you guys agree that this wall should be finished. If we should finish building this wall to save America. Let us know. Trump Latino. What's going on?
Yeah. And here, more questions from Allie Bradley.
Allie Bradley here with News Nation. I'm wondering, we've seen over 7 million people encountered under this administration. Many of them have been released into our country with notices to appear. DHS has even said that many of them don't qualify for asylum. Just last month, we saw 302,000 encounters, 245,000 of them released with an NTA. Should a Republican win the election here coming up, would the Republican Party be in favor of mass deportations, and what does that look like? Are we going door to door? Are you going into businesses? What would that look like if the Republican Party supports something like that?
It's a very complicated, complex issue, just finding those people. We heard Representative Van Dyne say earlier, tragically, nearly 100,000 undocumented children who were unaccompanied, came across the border, unaccompanied minors, have been lost into the system. The administration has lost track of these children after they've been released. These people are given a notice to return for an immigration hearing. Sometimes it's 4 years into the future. They don't show up. A very tiny percentage show up. So the first problem would be even identifying all these people. The point is, the longer we wait, the longer we delay the closure and securing of this border, the greater the crisis and the problem. We don't have a specific prescription yet that we're proposing because we haven't.
Enforce immigration law. Says we don't have a specific prescription yet on how to deal with this crisis. This crisis has been going on for decades. No one has done anything about it. Everything has only gotten worse. But Americans love to hear the bullshit. They don't watch, after listening to the bullshit, what they do. Enforce immigration law. Simple. Wow. So what is she finding? Apparently, migrants from Bangladesh ripped up and buried their documents on the U.S. side before self-surrendering to Border Patrol agents. You gotta wonder why. Well, I have come across piles of discarded documents. It happens for multiple reasons. Whether it's proof they were safe in another country, or it's proof they came from a country that is not friendly to the U.S. special interest country, or they aren't good people, and their ID will work against them. So they dump them over the south side of the wall. And she's not the only one who has found an awful lot of documents and passports and, well, in Yuma, Arizona, they are now apparently taking a step further and burning their documents. Well, yeah. Here's the guy that the GOP apparently want to impeach and have been wanting to impeach for a very, very long time, and nothing comes of what you hear from the GOP.
But when you say that Republicans won't accept the extra funding, they have a problem with the funds being used to release and transport illegal immigrants around the country. So Congress is listening right now. Would you accept the extra funding on the condition that the funds could only be used for detention and removal, but not release into the country?
Brett, the funds are needed to provide the Department of Homeland Security with more Border Patrol agents. The funds are needed to provide the Department of Homeland Security with more technology. The funds are needed to provide our department with more detention space, to provide the Department of Justice with more immigration judges so justice can be administered more swiftly.
But when you say that Republicans won't accept the extra fund,
it's the Republican. No, it's the Democrats. It's the Republican. No, it's the Democrats. It's the funding. We need more money. No, we need more border patrol agents. We need more technology. Why? To process the staggering numbers of migrants crossing the border. So I'm going to read some of this article again. The Rutherford Institute, John Whitehead, who, constitutional attorney, I've recommended that you might want to bookmark his site because a whole lot of very good articles come out of John and Nisha Whitehead, which I think is his daughter. Apocalypse Now, the government's use of controlled chaos to maintain power. Figure 1. Meaning, one person says this: just stop a few of their machines and radios and telephones and lawnmowers. Throw them into darkness for a few hours, and then you just sit back and watch the pattern. Another person says, and this pattern is always the same? So, the response is, with few variations, they pick the most dangerous enemy they can find, and it's themselves. And all we need to do is sit back and watch and let them destroy themselves. The monsters are due on Maple Street, Twilight Zone. Will 2024 be the year the deep state's exercise in controlled chaos finally gives way to an apocalyptic dismantling of our constitutional republic, or what's left of it? I would say very little is left of it, and whatever is there, well, those who have taken an oath to protect it violated. So, it's gone. Yeah. Everyone is looking at 2024 as the year a whole lot of the comfortable will begin to feel the consequences of the evil that is taking place. Hope you're ready for it. All the signs seem to point in this direction. For years now, the government has been pushing us to the brink of a national nervous breakdown. This breakdown, triggered by polarizing circus politics, media-fed mass hysteria, militarization and militainment, the selling of war and violence as entertainment, a sense of hopelessness and powerlessness in the face of growing corruption, the government's alienation from its populace, and an economy that has much of the population struggling to get by, has manifested itself in the polarized, manipulated mayhem, madness, and tyranny that is life in the American police state today. What is the deep state engineering? Why is the deep state engineering this societal madness? What's in it for the government? What is playing out before us is a chilling lesson in social engineering that keeps the populace fixated on circus politics and conveniently timed spectacles, distracted from focusing too closely on the government's power grabs, and incapable of standing united in defense of our freedoms. Oh boy. It's not conspiratorial, it's a power play. So, in the Twilight Zone episode, The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street, Rod Serling imagined a world in which the powers that be carry out a social experiment to see how long it would take before the members of a small American neighborhood, frightened by a sudden loss of electric power and caught up in fears of the unknown, will transform into an irrational mob and turn on each other. And it doesn't take long at all. Likewise, Netflix Leave the World Behind, produced by Barack and, Michelle Obama. Unexplained crises led to a technological blackout that leaves the populace disconnected, disoriented, isolated, suspicious, and under attack from mysterious ailments and each other, as one of Leave the World's characters speculates, the culprit behind the escalating catastrophes, which range from Wi-Fi outages and mysterious health ailments to cities under siege from rogue forces, may be the result of a military campaign intended to destabilize the nation by forcing people to turn against each other. It's really not so far-flung a scenario when you consider some of the many ways the government already has the ability to manufacture crisis in order to sow fear, fuel hysteria, destabilize the nation, and institute martial law. And it's coming. So he goes through all of the tools that government have to create this destabilization, and unfortunately, we're just going to, I guess, watch it manifest. Link is in the chat again. And it's really rather pathetic what we have become. And on to war, the real conventional wars, using new weapons. Israel is using a strange kind of bomb in northern Gaza, leaving massive fireballs.
مشاهدينا، هذه صور مباشرة تأتينا الآن من شمال غزة لقصف إسرائيلي. كما تلاحظون هناك قصف إسرائيلي مكثف. نرى صورة ونسمع صوت هذا القصف على منطقة شمال غزة. هذا القصف يأتي بعد عشرات الشهداء والجرحى في مجزرة بمخيم جباليا بشمال قطاع غزة. والقصف الإسرائيلي يعني أن هناك معارك على الأرض كما عودتنا الأشهر الثلاثة الماضية تقريبا من عملية طوفان الأقصى والعدوان الإسرائيلي الذي تلاها. القصف عنيف كما تلاحظون. إذن القصف متواصل على منطقة شمال غزة. القصف الإسرائيلي هذا متواصل في يوم ارتكبت فيه إسرائيل مجازر جديدة، خصوصا
I read an article about how Israel uses new weapons, experiments on Gaza with their new weapons, but another Israeli refusing military service.
The current war is a revenge war against the whole of Gaza, not only Hamas. The army is, through the years, only worsening in its actions against the Palestinians. The occupation that started years ago has only gotten deeper and deeper. And currently, there's a whole campaign in Gaza which is basically a massacre. 20,000 people are dead already, and I don't want to do anything with this system, not even the direct oppression, but the whole system. Personally, I know people that have been hurt from this massacre. My family knows a lot of people that have been. I mean, me not serving is not me taking a stance with Hamas. I'm not a supporter of Hamas. I do consider them a terrorist group. But the current war is a revenge war against the whole of Gaza, not only Hamas. The 20,000 people that are dead are not Hamas terrorists. Most of them are civilians, children and women. So I would say that one massacre does not justify this one, and I want the end of the whole bloodshed in any side.
And wouldn't that be nice?
We've gotten deeper.
It will come about if more and more people say no more. I'm not fighting for the IDF. Iran says at least 103 people were killed in blast at a ceremony honoring the slain general. Soleimani, was that his name? And celebration. There was an attack. U.S. comes out. Not our fault. Not our fault. Not Israel's fault. We're not behind the blast. Okay. And apparently, ISIS has claimed responsibility. ISIS has claimed it's. Why would ISIS? Well, what we hear, everything is questionable. And here, major protests in Iran right now with people chanting death to America and death to Israel. I don't see that as a surprise, do you? U.S. admits no signs of abating. Houthis escalate Red Sea attacks, deploy suicide drone boat. And apparently, Yemen, the Houthis, have just been too bad, U.S. We don't care. We don't care anymore. The Houthis have decided to respond to fresh warnings and threats from the U.S. and Western allies by sending an unmanned boat packed with explosives to disrupt international shipping lanes in the Red Sea. Clearly, Biden's warnings are doing nothing to deter anything. Well, that's part of the script. Just leave the United States completely vulnerable to an attack. U.S. slams hardline Israeli ministers for plan to expel Palestinians from Gaza. The Biden administration continues to clash with Israel over Gaza war policy, especially the question of the day after, quote-unquote, Hamas, and how the Gaza Strip will be administrated. Interesting. They're deciding how to control the Gaza Strip and the people in it. Israel, the U.S. The White House has sought to advance a plan that would see the West Bank-based Palestinian Authority under Mahmoud Abbas eventually take control of the Strip. Netanyahu has been adamant in rejecting this, decrying that the Palestinian Authority, they're terrorist sympathizers and supporters. Well, apparently every Palestinian, according to Netanyahu and a whole lot of Israelis, they're all Hamas. Kill them all. I can't stand what's going on. I honestly can't stand it. Encourage the voluntary migration of Gaza's residents to countries that will agree to take them. Wow. There's an awful lot of issues in these people. They've got a lot of issues. Rhetoric is inflammatory and irresponsible. Convince Arab countries to absorb Palestinians. Yeah, it's their land, but hey, what sickness is this going on? It's truly a sickness that is beyond. Breaking. Israel has now killed 12,040 Palestinian children in Gaza in 90 days. 12,040 children. Okay? 30,676 killed, 58,960 injured. The journalists killed, 105. 1,935,000 are displaced. 67,946 destroyed homes. 179,750 partially destroyed homes. 169 destroyed or damaged press headquarters. 318 damaged schools. Destroyed industrial facilities, 1,612. 211 damaged mosques. 3 damaged churches. 524 healthcare professionals, 241 killed and 283 injured. Healthcare facilities, 23 hospitals, 57 clinics, and 89 ambulances destroyed. Total of 169. Heritage sites, 198 destroyed. Civil defense workers, 167. 41 killed and 127 injured. Detainees forcibly disappeared, 2,850. Well, those numbers sure do reflect how reasonably proportional is this. Yeah. $6,103 women killed. 12,040 children killed. And 28,201 civilians killed. Yeah. Anyone who claims that this is not a genocide of a people needs serious, serious help.
It's day 71 of Israel's right to defend itself against children, frontline workers and journalists. And if we were to give the racist, fascist, genocidal Israeli regime any modicum of credit, it would be that it had at least been open about its intentions from the outset of this latest assault on Gaza. They have bragged on various media outlets about making Gaza unlivable and how we are witnessing in real time the Gaza Nakba. Ludicrous pointing at Arab calendars aside, Israel has been pretty upfront about their intention to wipe out and or cleanse the land of its indigenous population, as is the intention of all settler colonial projects. The so-called war on Hamas is a front, a convenient excuse to accelerate its ultimate solution to the Palestine problem. The brazen staging of intentions does not seem to be something Israel learned from its blood brother, the US, however. The US, on the other hand, has been duplicitous from the beginning of this nightmare, preaching restraint out of one side of its mouth, cheerleading and emboldening the mayhem out of the other. The US, itself built on genocide, from its foundation has seen itself as somehow exceptional. Now it is a world leader only in doublespeak. We must never forgive or forget these bleak days for humanity when the so-called leaders of the free world told us fairy tales under gaslight so they could continue murdering our Palestinian brothers and sisters in darkness. Blinken and Biden assured us the US was doing everything to ensure Israeli strikes were surgical, but we now know via CNN of all places that 60% of bombs were dumb, unguided, with only wanton death and destruction in mind. The US continually lies about its commitment to a two-state solution, yet vetoes endless UN resolutions to halt illegal Israeli settlements that they know make a two-state solution impossible. And the cherry on top had to be Joe Biden this week, having the audacity to tell us he's concerned about indiscriminate bombing of civilian targets in Gaza, while at the same time stepping up the already eye-watering military aid to the genocidal regime to continue its war crimes with impunity. There would be no genocide without the US. There would be no ultranationalist, jumped-up right-wing Israeli regime without the US's support and protection. The US has always seen itself as the world's policeman, and now we clearly see what the global South has been telling us for decades. The US is nothing more than the world's bully. And they must stand shoulder to shoulder with the monster they created and be held equally accountable for what will surely be recorded as one of the most shameful episodes in the history of the West. And so we say, no more US military aircraft refueling or transporting weapons to Israel in our Shannon airport. And maybe it's time for Ireland to become less dependent on US multinationals. There'll be some who'll scoff at this as typically harebrained lefty nonsense, but do we want to be inextricably linked with a government that arms the murderers of children? And if you're okay with 10,000 dead children, how many would it take? 50? 100? Before you place your humanity ahead of your job in Amazon or your paid partnership with Spotify? Saoirse Dun Palestine!
Can't separate out Americans from what's going on over there. Can't separate it out. From day one, I've been doing this. Israel, US, bang. United in a genocide of a people. How many Americans care? How many here care? I mean, for my entire life, I've never bought into the exceptional bullshit. Nah, sure as hell did not buy into the morally superior Americans. No. All of the wars I saw as, wow, certainly after 9/11. But I was attacked. Dare I say anything about Americans? Over and over and over again. My social network did not want to hear anything. Did not want to hear the truth, and did not want to hear that maybe there's nothing to be proud about being an American. Maybe nothing. Look how this country was started. Look how it's ending. Not much different, huh? How many years for our very young country were we not at war? 25. 25 out of the entire history of the US. Only 25 we were not dropping bombs or killing people. We have been a violent menace on the world. How could we have become such a violent menace when it's so obvious now? The people allowed it. The people allowed it. My God. And considering the violent menace, with a whole lot of American people walking around with this delusion that we're somehow great, it's become so violent that a whole lot of people are being destroyed. Fellow Americans being destroyed by their government. Social Security Administration is halting payments on people who were overpaid. Literally, they're going homeless because of this. People allow it. We allow these things to occur because a whole lot of us have not developed that generative care, which literally is the real difference between saying you care and genuine care. Because when you develop that generative care, it motivates you to do something. Not a lot of people have that. And it does take an awful lot of that self-reflective, self-examination, the, oh my God, looking in the mirror, oh, I did that. I don't ever want to do that again. Yeah, that work. That is painful. But if you don't do it, you're part of the problem, not the solution. And boy, do we need an awful lot of people with generative care who are helping those in their communities that are in need of help. Because a whole lot of people are suffering, and the comfortable ignore them. So, do what you can. Do what you can. And again, I know it scares me too, Duke and us. Yes. It scares me too. But I live a day at a time, getting through each day. Bring your best self to life. Takes effort, energy. Bring your best self. Always, each day. Get that awareness up. Situational awareness of your surroundings. More importantly, awareness of your own self. What you're about to say, what you're about to do. If you realize that it could cause a drama in somebody else's life, don't do it. You know, and it's painful to watch the destruction of so many people who don't deserve it. You know, on one hand, we deserve it because we didn't get involved. We just let the government do whatever the hell they wanted to do. Never holding anybody accountable. Always accepting all of the lies. And hell, voting for the lesser of two evil, you get evil. Okay. But then on the other hand, that people are just trying to live their lives, do they deserve to be more and more destroyed? Anybody deserve to die from you know what? Do the elderly deserve to be tossed out of their homes and made homeless? And do the Americans who are still comfortable, do they deserve the judgment of the comfortable? Live honestly, speak honestly. It's a simple spiritual practice. Hard? Yeah. Very hard in our country because lying is just, that's just what we do. So it's very hard, but it keeps it simple. And for all of those who are hurting and need help, you understand how important trust is. And when you don't have it, wow, it's very hard to ask for help. But we wouldn't be in this position right now if trust was still the foundation here. So we have to reestablish it. And on that note, I say, stay safe. Thank you for showing up. Check out my Rumble. Please follow me, because I don't know how every live I say something and I go, okay, will this remain? I don't know. But on that note, I hope to see you tomorrow night. Good night and good luck. Ciao, guys.